Hello guys, welcome back to the Sports Doyen. This is me Prathamesh and joining me is Siddharth. We're going to talk about Jose Mourinho and the recent decline, or rather the not so recent decline of Jose Mourinho. First of all, just to clarify, both of us are massive Jose Mourinho admirers, so this will be as tough on the heart as it is tough on the brain. But Sid, nowhere to start. Obviously, recently got sacked at Tottenham. There were multiple theories and multiple reasons why he has gotten sacked. His management style wasn't very popular amongst players. The training regimes, the assistant manager himself, he wasn't very popular as well. It was very much focused on the opponents and everything else. But that is how Jose has been, right? But what has changed over the years, especially at Tottenham? Since the day he was appointed, he never really looked Tottenham fit, did he?
Before I come to Jose Mourinho, I'll start a bit with Tottenham because the accusations that have been flying, for example, him being accused of destroying culture at the club.
Yeah.
What club? What culture? What culture at Tottenham? Pochettino was there for 4 years
Yeah.
or around 4 years. What do you remember? What culture has he built at Tottenham except Harry Kane? I can't think of anything.
I honestly feel that whatever Mauricio Pochettino built, or whatever we have seen having built, I think it wasn't really sustainable at the end of the time, because that culture himself got him sacked at the end.
So the accusations my point is that the accusations and the allegations against Mourinho, I think, are far fetched. No, I'm not defending him. He didn't do much to back his case there. But firstly, putting that argument aside. Secondly, let's just say that a brand of football that Mourinho has stuck to, for I think 20 years now, close to 20 years.
Yeah.
It was bound to fail. He's no Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's tactics are unmatched. Let's just say that, because they are bound to be, with the kind of players that he has, they're bound to be extremely successful. That's not the case with Mourinho. If you look at him at Tottenham, first of all, he did not have the kind of players that he likes.
Yeah.
Mourinho has always preferred players who are physically
Gifted, you mean?
team tirers. They don't give you a break. That's the base that his brand of football was built on.
Yeah.
And who at Tottenham gives you that kind of
Only Harry
feeling?
Kane, I would suggest.
I think,
Maybe not.
yeah,
even Harry
some
Kane
of
was-
Harry Kane maybe, yes, he's a grinder. Besides his qualities, he's a grinder. But see, Mourinho, for a fact, was the first ever manager to cross 1 million in transfers. Right? 1 billion, sorry. 1 billion in
1 billion
transfers.
yes.
Yeah. So he always, except Porto, I think, has been banking on the big money transfers that he's made in the first season of his club, of him taking over the club. Which, according to me, I think this one, for me, this was the one for Mourinho. Although he's been here for 2 years, but
Yeah.
we know with the pandemic and everything, this is the first complete, thorough season that he's had.
Yeah.
Right. So, and what signings has he made? Rodon. There's been Reguilon. There's been Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
Højbjerg,
Højbjerg, Gareth Bale and Reguilon.
Højbjerg past his prime. Gareth Bale and missing someone. Matt Doherty from.
Matt Doherty, yes.
Are these Mourinho kind of signings? Not at all.
No.
Absolutely not. And so the X factor of Mourinho is this: that he brings in great players to the club that he manages, and then his brand of football really has something to offer. Except that United game, which I blame United more than Tottenham, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So he was bound to fail. But I think United, he did not. I don't think he deserved more time because that there was too many problems. Neither with the Chelsea 2.0, neither with Real Madrid. But at Tottenham, yes, definitely deserved more time. because the fact that this perception that has been built around Mourinho that he has
Yeah,
very successful second seasons. I don't agree with that. I think
yeah,
that's clickbait as our headline is going to be for this video. Because see, obviously, if you make those big transfers in the first season,
yeah,
you tend to fill. The Mourinho tends to fill most of the gaps that are there in the team according to his
yeah,
liking,
yeah.
right? So you know at the end of his first season can that these two signings,
Yeah.
these couple of signings,
You
you can
look at
point out,
Chelsea, right, Sid?
yeah,
He signed Cesc Fabregas and also signed Diego Costa, and they instantly made them a title-winning team because you
absolutely.
knew those were the two
He
players that you needed to sign as Jose Mourinho.
look, he was absolutely clear in what he wanted. He sold Mata to Manchester United because it did not fit his system. He preferred Oscar over Mata, uh, which for that season I think worked in his favor because Oscar
Yeah,
was having the giving him the energy that he needed. Kevin De Bruyne was a mishit. I agree on in the long term, but at that moment wasn't a big deal for us. So the fact
yeah,
that he brought Costa and Cesc Fabregas, he filled in. Matic and Fabregas had the season of their lives
yeah,
in under Mourinho. Costa also was very impactful.
yeah,
Hazard was always Hazard.
yeah,
He knew the moment he stepped in, he knew that he had to build his team around this guy, which he
yeah,
successfully did for a season. I'll discuss the third season fallout. I think we'll discuss where the decline started. As per me, I can exactly point the moment when it started for him.
yeah.
But at Tottenham, this was never the case. In his first season, he hardly made any big impact transfers.
Yeah, I think Steven
And
Bergwijn was the biggest transfer that they made, and Bergwijn is not a Jose Mourinho player, is he?
I mean,
I mean,
you see the
talent-wise, he does
comparison.
promise a lot, but you
You
saw that
you
Jose
see the
Mourinho himself
comparison.
went strong.
Yeah, I mean, at Manchester United, probably Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
Yeah,
which was, I mean, not a big money transfer, but a big transfer that he
yeah.
that
That
he
was a Jose Mourinho
uh,
transfer.
yeah, he had a role to play in it. It was very successful as well. Let's just say that.
In fact, Sid, I also
Lukaku,
feel like, I mean, Lukaku, yes, but I also feel like when Mkhitaryan was signed, he felt like a very Jose Mourinho kind of signing because he was very shrewd in the sense that the way he got
look,
his.
you are going to have one off player,
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, you can't predict something like that. Obviously,
yeah,
he thought of Alexis Sanchez to also be a very big player, which
yeah,
did not happen. That's fine because Zlatan made him immediate impact. That was a very good signing for United. That at Chelsea, as you said, Costa and Fabregas, very big signings, big, massive world football players. Before that, at Real Madrid, also, I think who did it he sign at Real
He signed
Madrid?
Luka Modric back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, case in case made automatically.
Yeah,
Before that, at Inter, at Chelsea 1.0, at Porto, though he got a gifted team right from
yeah,
the go. So if you compare what he got under Tottenham to all these clubs, I mean, it's not even a comparison. I think
yeah,
Bale was a panic buy that they made at the end. I
yeah,
mean, he thought that Bale would make some impact, but that
yeah.
was, let's just say, I also did, but let's just say that did not work out,
Did
and
not work out. Yeah.
was definitely not going to work out.
Also
So
said with Bale, like except for the last match, against Sheffield where he scored a hat trick. I think he hasn't really looked the same kind of player. I mean, people talk about that goal he scored against Southampton off late as well.
yeah,
But Gareth Bale still hasn't looked Gareth Bale, right? And
no,
Jose
he
Mourinho
was not going to he was not going to look like Gareth
was
Bale.
not going to look because
Yeah.
he spent a year and a half almost on the sidelines. He never looked settled at Real Madrid towards the end of his career. I mean, he might still play for Real, we never know. But I mean, just look at the players, right? You look at someone as you just talked about, Harry Kane. Harry Kane is someone who probably is a manager's dream, isn't he? Like a lot of people talk about players that Jose Mourinho kind of likes, which the world doesn't. But Harry Kane was one of those who, the world also loves. Jose Mourinho also loved him because of the grind that Harry Kane had. He was able to do what he does, right? You look at Marwan Fellaini. There was a reason why Mourinho appreciated him because of what he gave him. Although uska output is always a question mark because we keep on wondering what Jose Mourinho saw in Fellaini that the other managers couldn't bring out of him. But that is a question. Nemanja Matic is another example where Jose Mourinho has absolutely adored the player. He's brought him everywhere. And, just look at Didier Drogba of all people. I mean, he brought Drogba with a specific intent, during his Chelsea 1.0 as well as 2.0, and how that transfer has benefited the club in the longer run as well. But just yes, sir. I mean, in the sense that he always has gotten the kind of players and has been more or less successful with his transfers. But here, I also felt there was another factor that didn't work in his favor. That was the lack of Rui Faria. I mean, all of these years, Rui Faria has always been Jose Mourinho's second man. Always been someone who Jose looks up to, tactically, analytically as well. But here, I mean, obviously, Rui Faria left to become a manager. We know the background story, why he left Manchester United and everything else. But when he left, to replace him with someone like Joao Sacramento, who was very young, very inexperienced, a lot of Tottenham sources have also said that Joao Sacramento failed to understand the players emotionally in terms of there is a different requirement, right? When you play in the biggest league in the world, you always talk about the mental requirements of the players, what the players actually want to do, because all of these are high profile players. You look at someone like Dele Alli, Harry Kane, even Lucas Moura, Hugo Lloris, Toby Alderweireld. These are all players with a high stature in the game. And you look at these players and you think these players will have certain expectations in how they want to play the game, how their team wants to play the game. Tottenham fans have a certain aspiration of playing the game in the more beautiful way, as people like to put it out, right? But Joao Sacramento's and Jose Mourinho's relationship was such that people also said that it was his tactics that got a lot of players fed up. Because you look at Tottenham, and I genuinely feel this is the case. When you look at Tottenham Hotspur, you always felt that Tottenham was very dependent on the fact that how their opponents would play and how they would line up accordingly under Jose. It always felt like that. You look at that Man City game, for example, which they won at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but then they lost the reverse leg at the Etihad. That was an exact example of how Jose Mourinho could have possibly been for Tottenham to what Jose Mourinho is, because all of these players are not the kind of players who want to play that style of football. And let's also say that every player now aspires to play that beautiful style of football.
No, but yeah, I mean, now comes the bigger part or the bigger criticism around Jose Mourinho, which is rightful, as I said, because he's played with the same style and same tactics for 20 years, and he's no Guardiola. But about his defensive style of play, we'll have to look at how he became the more defensively, preferring defensive style of play. It came from
also said when you talk about
when he was.
I remember Chelsea's 1.0 and 2.0, both versions, where Chelsea played absolutely beautiful football, mesmerizing football, in especially in the first half of the season when Chelsea won the second time, the title. I think it was 2014, right? When you guys won the title, 2014-15 season.
Yeah, 2014-15.
That first half of the season was absolutely wonderful, and I remember the way Chelsea absolutely played, out-tacticked and outclassed teams on the pitch, and that was also an identity of Jose Mourinho. What has been going on since then is the question.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, to understand Jose Mourinho's defensive mindset, it came from him being when he was the assistant coach to Sir Bob Robson,
Yeah.
and Robson being the more attacking manager at Barcelona in 1996, and Mourinho being his number two, used to handle the defensive style of play.
Yeah.
So from there, that defensive, him relying on strong defenses and defensive plays that don't allow too much space to the opponent's game, and then with the Porto, his pressing, the way he introduced high pressing.
Yes.
So he's always been a manager who prefers strong defenses, relies on that defense for his season, and plays high pressure football ahead. So see, Chelsea again, he had a very strong defense, and that's how he built his team further. You had legs going ahead,
Yeah.
people who ran a lot, put a lot of pressure on teams, did not let them play, not won't give these teams too much space. Same at Real Madrid also. The counter-attacking football. I think Mourinho's counter-attacking football at Real Madrid was the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Matlab, yeah, you could say that there are few uh, equals, but
Probably that was
I
the
think
best.
that was the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from see, he was figured out. I think during his Chelsea 15-16 season
Yeah.
when his style of play collapse began.
Yeah.
I would see his collapse. As I said, I would timeline it. For me, it ideally began when he had a fallout with Ramos. And I'll tell you why. Because fallout with the likes of Ramos, Casillas, then Ronaldo got involved.
Yeah.
Big egos in that Real Madrid camp. See, he's a manager who is always known to have fallouts with the management.
Yeah.
And many managers. You look at Thomas Tuchel, you look at Maurizio Sarri, you can look at several managers who had fallouts with the
Fallouts.
management. That's nothing different. That happens. But the problem for him began when he started having player fallouts with players,
Yeah.
starting with Real Madrid in that third season. Uh, because he has been a manager who's always relied on his relationship with the players, and from there, that's where the
Yeah.
his conference skills come, right?
Yeah.
Because he's always known to take that pressure off the players and take it on him. At least initially, he was like that.
Yeah.
But what changed now is that now your biggest strength, which was your players wanting to play for you,
Yes.
and you having that kind of relationship with the players, that got affected. So
Exactly.
that he carried ahead. In Chelsea's third season also these reports came up.
Yeah.
United, we all know what happened between him and Paul Pogba.
Yeah. Paul Pogba and Luke Shaw were like cases which, I mean, Sid, as a Manchester United fan, if I was Luke Shaw, I mean, imagine the kind of just the kind of hatred that he kind of got from Jose Mourinho, I would say, because you look at the way Luke Shaw was managed at Manchester United by Jose, never got in the team because of Jose Mourinho constantly criticizing him for fitness, which at that moment was very true. But also, you look at Luke Shaw and the way he was, constantly, putting pressure on him from the sidelines. You look at that bizarre interview that he gave to the media regarding Luke Shaw, where he said that, Luke Shaw did play well, but that was because of me that he played well, because I was constantly instructing him what
Yeah,
to do.
exactly. This is the change that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He was always known to take the pressure off these players in press conferences, never ever criticize them openly. But now, with since United, that changed a lot.
Yeah.
With United, in the case of Paul Pogba and Luke Shaw, and
Yeah.
then in Tottenham with Dele Alli, etc.
I
He
think
never did that,
Matt
and
Doherty as well, if I'm not wrong, Sid, because
yeah,
Doherty
and I
first
think
game
the
of the season
press
he took him on.
yeah, and the press conference fallout also started with Chelsea's third season.
Yeah.
So the players fallout started with the Real Madrid third season.
Yeah.
That problem of his management when with the Ramos etc. thing, and in the Chelsea third season, see, Mourinho wasn't used at that moment till the Chelsea's third season. I think with Chelsea 1.0 in the third season also he started to have a few problems,
Yeah.
but this by far was his worst season because he wasn't used to lose so many games on the trot.
Yes. Yes.
So with Mourinho, you lose one game, he gives that weird press conference where he'll blame it on some random
Yeah.
referee or anything, and then the next game you win and everyone forgets that. But
Exactly.
right then, remember that moment where he just walked off? I don't remember. Uh, what something
I think
very
there was a
famous
time
interview from
he
Chelsea.
walked off at halftime or full time, and they conceded another goal after
Yeah,
that.
yes. Though that was also a very silly thing that he used to do with
Yeah.
Liverpool. He walked out at halftime and then we conceded a goal
Yeah.
before halftime. So, uh, see, that is still fine. But this press conference thing, I think that campaign against Chelsea thing
Campaign
that he
against
started
Chelsea.
in the
Yes.
third season, I think that's where he lost it with the media as well, because then he was constantly losing and constantly coming up with these tactics, which
Yeah,
ideally he's a human being at the end. He ran out of ideas, and
yeah,
then people made a mockery out of him. That's where his sense in the press conference, he started losing them, because then there were so many moments. Remember the game against Chelsea where he spoke about winning 3 titles,
yes,
and what
yes.
for
Tottenham it
Manchester
was.
United that
Yeah,
season.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was against Tottenham when they
Then
lost 3-1 at Old
then
Trafford.
the entire saga with Luke Shaw.
Yeah,
Now at Tottenham also, did the Doherty, Dele Alli, so many
yeah,
moments where he's completely lost it with the media. So I mean, there have been, you can point out where which part of his management, which
yeah,
used to work so much in his favor, started
yeah,
collapsing, and that's
yes,
reached at this point where nothing is working for him. Neither his media management, neither his player management, neither his style of play. Style of play
yeah.
is a huge problem.
Huge fault.
And
Yes.
if you put all of this together,
Yeah.
I don't think any manager is going to come out
Yeah.
of it.
Also said, when you look at it, just from the style of play perspective, because I think we've covered a lot of other things as well. But just from the style of play, you look at his Chelsea 1.0, right? He had players who were leaders in themselves. You look at someone like John Terry, like Marco Lille, Didier Drogba obviously was there. You had players who, rose themselves above the manager at some point. They led the team on the pitch. And, that was very visible. You look at Real Madrid, he had multiple players, who could do that.
Yeah,
At Inter, when they won the Champions League, he was massive that season. They won the treble that season. It was brilliant.
yeah,
All
Diego
of those
Milito.
players who, you look at Maicon, right? The way he used Maicon in that game against Barcelona. It was a proper example of Jose Mourinho's tactics and the leadership that those players showed on the pitch. But as soon as you entered, I won't even say that Chelsea 2.0 was very successful in that sense. He had a lot of good players, and I think that kept him in good stead, somewhere around the end of the second season when you started realizing that Jose's style is slightly, going under, what you would rather expect. And then obviously in the third season he did get a sack. But ever since he came to Manchester United, the only player that held the stature that Jose Mourinho's style of play requires or demands, you would probably say Wayne Rooney, but he froze Wayne Rooney out of the team. You look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba had the stature but never made it count because he never gave his 100% or what you would call never had demanded or got that kind of respect from the players as well. You look at lots of other cases in Tottenham, right? In Tottenham, you only had Harry Kane or Hugo Lloris, two players you could absolutely bank on if you're Jose Mourinho because you expect these players to be Jose Mourinho style players. You look at Lloris, he has that presence amongst the team, he has the respect. With Harry Kane, the respect comes with his performance in the way he is around the camp and the way he treats everyone and everything else that is brought about by a player. So that was genuinely missing. And to add to all of that, I also felt like people talk about style of play being it's a downgrade to what is expected these days and everything else. You look at Brighton, right? You look at Graham Potter and the way he is trying to play football with that Brighton team, which supposedly doesn't have the same quality of players, but there is some. You look at projects these days, right? You look at football, you look at projects more or less. You look at Liverpool. Liverpool was always a project which seems to have reached its peak last season and now is starting to taper off slightly. You look at I think you look at Southampton. Southampton always, it's an ongoing project because of the way they deal with it. You look at Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. It is a project. It has a long-term vision. There is a style that Pep Guardiola wanted to imprint on his team. But all of these things were always about themselves and their team. It was never about the fact that if I am Pep Guardiola, I'm going to design my tactics every game differently because I do not. I want to consider what my opponent's doing. Right? You look at the Europa League for Manchester United 2016 when we won the Europa League. The Europa League final was an example of what Jose Mourinho can do in a one-off game. But then that was an example of what Jose Mourinho does every game as well. And I think somewhere down the line, you look at players now. The aspirations have also changed for footballers. It isn't just about winning. It isn't just about winning those 3 points, is it? It's about trying to be a part of a long-term project, trying to establish yourself as a player for a long term within the same club if possible. But if not, you want to aspire to be a player who is associated with certain beautiful aspects of the game, which with Jose Mourinho, unfortunately never came in his time with Manchester United or Tottenham. And if you look at Tottenham as well, the complaints that the players had, that his style of play was never very um, aspirational. His training methods were always, outdated, and they never felt worked up in training. I remember that FA Cup game that they played recently, where they used a lot of youngsters, one final out at some small team. I remember that that was the game that the press conference was taken place, and a player said that this is when we have been worked up the most, in entire tenure of Jose Mourinho, which indeed also explains why Jose Mourinho has failed himself in a way. And
See,
just
that's the point I was making around player relationships with Mourinho, right? Because Mourinho always needed his players to step up and play the way Mourinho wants them to, with 100% commitment. I won't question anyone's commitment,
yeah,
but you look at how that Real Madrid team, for example, was shaped. That is not how ideally someone like a Real Madrid would like to play, right? But that's what they did.
yeah,
That's what they did because Mourinho wanted them to play that way, and it was a successful project. Mourinho, see, there's a long-term project and there's a short-term project with Mourinho, likes of Mourinho believe, right?
yeah,
He's never going to do what Sir Alex did. Let's just be,
yeah,
because he was that. Interestingly, when he in 2003, when he had the choice of either joining Liverpool and or Chelsea,
yeah,
he spoke of this. He did not want to join Chelsea because he thought Chelsea was a failing project,
yeah,
and he thought that Liverpool was a better project at that moment.
yeah,
But he's never been the kind of manager who hates having direct. He's been a dirty manager, right?
yeah,
He's done everything that he can to be wanting to win.
yeah,
That's all. For initial years, that was the best trait of him. He used to get the results, to grind the results out. He used that calculator amazingly well. He
yeah,
knew he need to draw these 4 games and win these amount of
yeah.
games to win the title,
I remember,
and
Sid,
he was
when
successful.
you talked about
Yeah,
the fact that in his first season he had this date marked in the calendar that this is when we will win the league title, and Chelsea did around that same
yeah,
time.
exactly. That's a part of his arrogance as well, which after a point started working against him.
Yeah,
You know, ideally after the Chelsea third season.
yeah,
But he was never someone who would not overspend or not do things, immediate actions for the sake of a long-term project. And he never believed in the aesthetics of football. Let's just say that
yeah,
he was a very bold, direct, arrogant, and a dirty manager. And it worked for him because he used to bring results. For the past 6 7 years, for the past 5 years, he's not bringing results. So what do you call a person who is not bringing results but continues to be that kind of a manager? A
yeah,
failure. So he has failed, right?
yeah,
Because he always, you knew it. If Mourinho is not bringing you the results, he's never going to have that how do I put it, like Arteta, right? He's never going to be having that Arteta kind of impression where chalo acha football to khel rahe types.
exactly.
He's so, if he, as soon as he stops bringing results, and yes, that's because his style of play has been figured out,
Yeah,
and you obviously gonna figure out. See, uh how do I put this? He was, despite being a defensive manager, his attacking style was also unique. As I said, the high
yes,
pressing, counter attacking football that he introduced into world football with that Porto
yes,
team. It stuck with him for a long time. But after a point, yes, it got figured out. You look at how football, especially since he's been in the Premier League for 5 years now. I'm only going to talk about the Premier League. You look at an Antonio Conte season.
yeah,
He came in, he introduced a style of play. Suddenly, everyone's playing that
yeah,
because they think it's the most effective. Three at the back is now the most effective thing in football. So, football and tactics evolved over times. See, he's no Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola was perfection. Now he's not as perfect, but still pretty effective, right? But he still needs the players that he
exactly,
wants to play
exactly.
that kind of football. Mourinho also needs the players,
Yeah,
but I feel that he does not have the kind of style of play that Guardiola has to be existing in this ecosystem with
Yeah.
just being that. So he high
Exactly.
time he needs to evolve his football,
Yeah.
because I don't see as I said, everything that used to work for him now is against
It
him.
doesn't work for him.
So he
Exactly.
needs to
Exactly.
rethink from scratch, because it's been a great story. Let's just say that him under Louis Van Gaal and Bob Robson, as I mentioned, to
Yeah.
that Porto season where he won the Champions League,
Yeah.
to then go into very successful times at Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Inter. Sorry, Chelsea, Inter, and Real Madrid. Then Chelsea 2.5 half of his time over there, where he was pretty successful as well. And
Yeah.
then it's just been haywire.
It's been haywire, and I think as fans of Mourinho, I would say I think we always expect him to, we expected when he came out of that asylum that probably he took from football after failing at Manchester United. We expected a better version of Jose Mourinho. Unfortunately, that Jose Mourinho never showed up. The one that we expected, and we got the same Jose Mourinho, that same arrogance that got him out of his Manchester United job. So I think it's fair to say that Jose has to change a lot of things, including his style of play, including his style of managing players, his training regimes, his media regimes as well. A lot has to be changed, but there is no doubting the fact that Jose was legendary for almost 15 years in European football, and I think that in itself is an achievement. If the last 5 years they mean absolutely nothing to a lot of people, but in spite of that, he's still been a legend, and we do expect Jose Mourinho to come back stronger. So once again, thank you, Sid, for joining. This is an endless Jose Mourinho discussion, but I think we will call it a halt here. And to all the viewers at the Sports Doyen, do click on the link of our channel. Do check out the other videos as well, and we will see you soon.